Alright, what's going on, guys? So I've been playing Pokémon Legends ZA for the past few days, the Switch 2 version playing it in 4K, and Pokemon games to me are always a highlight of my year as a sort of relaxation. Because I grew up on Pokemon, I've been playing all the Pokemon games for the last 20 years, probably longer to be honest, and I always enjoy them, for the most part. Pokemon has always been a very big part of my life. Whether that be the trading cards, Pokemon Go, spin-off games, I consume all of it. And I was very excited to finally jump into Legends ZA. But as you can probably tell from this channel, I don't talk about Pokemon here, but this is the first time that I feel I have to make a review on a Pokemon game. Because to be perfectly honest, this game is just unacceptable. It's really bad, and I don't know why it's reviewing so high. I'm really not someone that looks at reviews a lot and is skeptical that they might be paid off. I've done reviews myself. I've done sponsored videos for games before. I've never been paid for a review. But when I see people giving this game 80s, 90s, 100s even, prominent outlets, there's something fishy going on here because this game is genuinely, and I say this as someone who enjoyed Scarlet and Violet, who loved Legends Arceus, bought both DLCs for Scarlet and Violet and finished the Pokédex, and had a good time doing it. This game is the most mid, unfinished, absolute minimal acceptable product that they could have possibly put out. And they're charging $70 for this. It is a genuine scam. And so that's why I feel I have to talk about this. So we're gonna break it down. I'm gonna go through literally everything I can think of that makes this game bad. And let me apologize in advance, the gameplay you're going to be watching is going to be boring because there is nothing exciting happening in this game at all. But let's go ahead and get into it. So let's start with the most obvious, the elephant in the room that everybody's been talking about, the graphics. Now, up front, let's just be honest, nobody plays Pokemon for the graphics. I don't play Pokemon for the graphics, and I'm even willing to look past most of this game's graphics. Legends Arceus had bad graphics, Scarlet and Violet had terrible graphics, but those were still enjoyable games. Lumiose City was an icon in X and Y. That game made the city feel alive, and it was the first time in a Pokemon game we really had something of this scale. But Legends ZA takes Lumiose City and makes it as dead and dull as possible. We're in 2025, and every surface of the city, for the most part, is a flat, blurry PNG. The buildings are literally rectangles, with no three-dimensional textures. Occasionally, you may have an awning over a doorway, or railing on the roof, or scaffolding that's meant to be something you can climb on, but that's it. The whole game looks like it has yet to load in fully. Now, even on Switch 1, this game does run way better than Legends Arceus and even Scarlet and Violet, and people are giving it credit for that, but I genuinely think the reason for that is because there's nothing to load in. You're really not putting that much stress on the console with how simple everything is. And you know the potential's there because Game Freak is currently working on another game called Beast of Reincarnation, and I'll let you make the comparison on that one. It's the same company. They're probably using a lot of the same resources to make both these games. And well, you can see the difference for yourself. But graphics are really just the tip of the iceberg with this game. From a gameplay perspective, Legends ZA is a downgrade from Legend Arceus in every single way. Instead of exploring a wide open world where Pokemon live naturally, you explore Lumiose City, where Pokemon coexist alongside humans, except not really. There are designated wild zones throughout the world, sectioned off by these giant ugly neon green lights that don't fit the setting at all. And these wild zones may have 4 or 5 types of Pokemon in it, and they might be one block of the city at most. There is no exploration to be had. You can see the entire zone on screen at a single time, and the Pokemon are just naturally sectioned off within the area. It may take you 5 minutes max to clear out each species in that zone. Now, where the Pokemon were legitimate threats in Legends Arceus, there is no sense of danger in this game. Unless you're at low level and purposely go try to catch a level 50 Pokemon, there is no tension. You can leave or fly out of the zone at any time. There's not even the tension of trying to catch a Pokemon without killing it, because even when a Pokemon faints now, you can still capture it. So the extent of your Pokemon interactions throughout the city is just running around, one-shotting everything with your most overpowered Pokemon and then throwing Pokeballs at it. There's no strategy involved, there's no thought process, and if you fail, you can just try again with no consequences. There's not even a consequence for missing a throw because there's scavengers around the map who will just give them back to you at Pokemon centers. It is entirely brainless, boring, and uninspired. Now, where the game tries to innovate the most is in battles, and it kind of ditches the turn-based system for a new cooldown-based system where all the moves are on a timer, your Pokemon isn't confined to one space, and it's kind of a real-time battle. And this is where I saw a lot of the reviewers hyping it up, saying that these battles are so much fun, but when you actually get down to it, you just kind of end up button mashing whatever move is not on cooldown. Of course, you have your type advantages and stuff to consider, but there's no consequence for using a move that isn't very effective because the move that you want to use is on cooldown, and it's not like you're wasting a turn or anything. You can just use it for extra chip damage in the meantime while you wait for your better move to come along. Now, as someone who does not like turn-based combat outside of Pokemon and played a lot of competitive Pokemon in the past, this takes all the fun out of it. You're not really positionally aware of attacks because you're not controlling your Pokemon. You're still controlling your player in this time, so there's no dodging, there's no quick reactions having to occur. It's just button mashing, and the only thing you consider is type advantage. There is no strategy. Kinda like catching Pokemon, it's just brainless, and if you fail, there's no consequence. You just start over, and you can leave at any time. You can even run from battles in this game, which, ever since the first Pokemon game was established in this world, you never do. So I would very much rather go back to the turn-based system in the mainline games. Even what Legends Arceus had was way better. This is just not fun to me at all. And I know people say with every single generation of Pokemon games, why don't they just revolutionize the combat? I'm gonna be an old head here and just say, because it always worked fine. The turn-based system in Pokemon is genuinely good. The strategies you have to do in the old Pokemon games is genuinely fun. You know, having to strategize your way through the Elite Four in Soul Silver and Heart Gold, having to take notes on what works and what doesn't work when fighting Cynthia and Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, that's fun to me. I was that kid back in the original Gold and Silver that if a move did not do damage, I replaced it with something that did. As I've gotten older and played more Pokemon games over the years, I learned the strategies that could be accomplished in the turn-based system, and I really don't think that's what should be changed to make good Pokemon games. But let's talk about something that could be changed. Like everything else in Legends ZA, the story is incredibly boring and feels like it was written by ChatGPT. The dialogue even follows a lot of the same patterns that ChatGPT does, so I am kind of inclined to think they used it here. Now, when the game keeps you on rails for the first several hours of it, and it's just flat cutscenes with dialogue boxes back and forth, and there's no soul to any of the writing, it makes for a boring game. Even Scarlet and Violet had some emotional beats to it, and the story was at least enjoyable. Legends Arceus had a good story, with interesting characters and side quests, and the old Pokemon games had fantastic stories. This game has nothing going on. There's Rogue Mega Evolution happening, I guess, and Zygarde is somehow involved. That's it, that's all you know, that's all that happens. Supposedly the city is in peril, but you see absolutely no signs of that when you're actually in the city, because again, nothing is happening. There's nothing going on in this game at any time. Legends Arceus had the storms going on in the world that were very hard to navigate, had rare items. It also had things like mass outbreaks, alpha Pokemon that were dangerous, but could be a big asset to your team if you catch. There is nothing happening in this game at any time unless it's a specific quest step. There aren't even interesting side quests to go on because they're all one small step, like show this person a Heracross. For the game world that's supposed to be a city of commingling between people and Pokemon, the Pokemon have no effect on the world at all. For example, you see somebody walking down the street with you don't see them walking down the street, they're standing in place with a Metagross, for example. That would be a pretty big deal in the real Pokemon world. Like somebody having a Garchomp inside a store would, if they were taking the world seriously, have some kind of consequence. Like some of the characters in this game have text bubbles that say something like, "Oh, I wish we didn't have Pokemon around the city like this because they're just causing trouble." But you never see any Pokemon causing trouble. They just stand there lifelessly like statues that you can't interact with and don't interact with any of the people. Game Freak has entirely lost what people enjoy the Pokemon games for. They enjoy it for the Pokemon. And when the Pokemon are just statues with no personality, even in battle, it makes the game suck. I mean, you look at games like Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD from 2003, and there's infinitely more personality and expression to the Pokemon in battles and around the world than what we have in 2025. It is sad. I mean, look at this Krokorok right here. This does not make me feel like I'm in the world of Pokemon whatsoever. But I think you guys get the point now, man. As a longtime Pokemon fan who loves the games, Game Freak has got to go. Give it to somebody else. They very clearly do not care about putting out a good product or representing the Pokemon franchise in a good way at all. And what sucks the most about it is that everybody knows how high the potential is for a Pokemon video game. If they would just hand the IP over to some other developers that genuinely want to make a Pokemon game and care about the franchise and the universe, that is for a good reason the most popular franchise on Earth, we could have something truly spectacular that would revolutionize gaming. We don't know if we'll ever get that, because as far as the future looks, especially if you've seen the leaks, it's just going to keep being held hostage by these people that don't care about Pokemon, that don't care about making a good game. And that's a shame, it really is. But yeah, I can't in good faith recommend anybody buy this game. It's not good. If you're a hardcore Pokemon fan like me, you can find some moments of enjoyment if you just plan on completing the Pokédex, but that's about it. But anyway, I hate to be so negative. This game is just genuinely bad.